Hello everyone, how are we doing? It's Monday night, Endless Celts are back. We're here to talk about another Celtic game. I'm joined by our very own Stephen and friend of the show, Jed. How are you doing tonight, boys?
Fine,
All
boss.
good. Can't wait.
Thanks for asking me back on as well.
Aye,
Yeah.
glad to have you back on. Glad to have you back on.
Looking
You
forward
always,
to talking things Celtic, like 100%.
aye, definitely. Just come to you first, Stephen. How's your weekend been?
Oh, mate, I know it's been up and down. Obviously, we're still pushing the kind of mental health side of things, and the numbers are going along the bottom, and you can see them on the screen. And I think it's important for people to talk, like we have been the last couple of weeks. I think it's good. And my weekend was up and down, mate. So I mean, I went a couple of big walks and that, and kept myself occupied, got out of the house, and watched the Celtic win 3 points at Batodry with my granda, my wee brother, and my granny. So thumbs up for me so far.
Aye, can't beat it. It's all good. It's all good. What about yourself, Jed?
Yeah, good weekend. Out Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and then just chilled out watching the game yesterday.
Aye,
So,
I was hearing you bumped into my wife in the pub actually.
you did
I
that.
hope
You never even bought me a drink.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh,
I've been there nearly 20 years and she's not bought me a drink yet.
What do you mind, Josh? A cousin of mine.
Aye, that's true. Aye, that's true. Watch my P's and Q's tonight.
Aye.
Right, well, before we get into it, we'll obviously touch on our Sharna sponsors. Again, it's the same as before. Clothing, there's Stephen modelling it, sporting it. It's a clothing range for the terraces. You get a 10% discount if you use our code, which is coming along the bottom of the screen. It's just constantly going along there. So get yourself involved in that. And the next thing is our Super Six is back. I want to say once again, reiterate for anybody that doesn't know, Stephen Coulthard won the obviously last season's one, and he hasn't yet received his prize. But again, reiterate, it is coming. We're no taking the piss or anything like that. It will come. But I've got to laugh because on Friday afternoon before we went on Friday night, I was saying to the guys, obviously I've set this league up again. Can we get it up on the screen and can we put a post on Twitter to remind people to put it on for 3 o'clock on Saturday? And lo and behold, I forgot to put it on. So that's just Ross over the back there, Monty will tell you. But it was I'll just read off the sort of top four. It was a flying start for Alistair Jack. He's at the top on 12 points, followed closely by Kevin Gallagher on 11. And then we have, I think it's Bethany Brannan. I couldn't get her full name up, so I guessed it was Brannan. If I've got that wrong, I apologise. And John, our own John, his brother Phil, is on 9 as well. So, listen, I forgot to do it, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'll be back. I think I might put it on midweek so that I don't forget it. But
pull on tonight.
Listen, it's free to join, and obviously the first week's been. But if anybody's watching live tonight or watches this back and they want to jump into it, then again, the code, I think it's on screen on the ticket.
Yeah.
Is it? Aye. Well, there's the code there.
Can I address the prize for Stephen Coulthard? Because I feel like it's been a long running joke now. So basically, the Sharna who do the t-shirts and stuff, they were on holiday for a while and kind of put back production. I've been in touch with Michael, who's helping me out and kind of working with me. We're going to get our own kind of collaboration with them. Some just clothing for ourselves, not necessarily for sale or anything like that. We're not high end market like that at the minute, but basically, it's a 4-week waiting time for these things to be done. So hopefully, I would say middle of September, maybe, Ross, that prize will be posted out to Stephen, and then we can look ahead, obviously, to more prizes in the coming months for different wee competitions if we're running. But yeah, I just wanted to explain that.
I know. Listen, it's good that you did, because obviously I wasn't quite sure what the time scale was. But it's all good. It will be coming his way, and he's the champion. But right, we'll go on to all things Celtic now. And obviously, we played their second league game of the season up at Pittodrie. I'll come to you first, Stephen. Just for me, another good win. not perfection by any stretch, but just a sort of brief overview of how you felt the game went.
Well, the brief overview after the game, I came away from it feeling a bit disheartened, I don't know, a wee bit frustrated. But I said the other night, I might surprise you a wee bit. I kind of reflected and looked back on the result, and Pataudry is always a hard place to go. It's one of our ties where it can go not either way, but you know what I'm saying. It can be like that. It can be very kind of long ball, like Aberdeen do all the time. They make it difficult. They get stuck in. They're physical. All their centre halves are like 6'3" plus, and it's a really tough game that you have to dig in. And I think Roger said I caught the Celtic TV interview. He said that the pitch was long. It affected our passing game, and all these things have to be taken into consideration. And by the way, that's fair dues to Barry Robson, Aberdeen. They're trying to find ways to stop us. Do you know what I mean? That's their prerogative to do that, and it's always up to us to find a way and to win the game and get the 3 points, which are ultimately done in the end. But as you said, it wasn't by any means flashy or by any means like wow. It was job done. We got the job done. We got the 3 points, and we got back home, and we're 3 points ahead of our nearest rival since they lost Michael Beale's first game ever in charge. Madness, isn't it? But yeah, all in all, I'm happy enough with the result. Things need improved on. I'm sure we're going to come on to that. But as Rogers did say in his post-match, that it's now about getting the results and then aiming to improve that performance along the way. And I thought that was quite telling. He knows himself that it's not good enough in terms of what we can produce. The players are still getting used to that system. Things changed. I mean, you could see it in terms of our build-up play. It's much more methodical. We really kick into gear when the last third, the attacking gets quicker, but we keep the ball for longer periods of time instead of just going bump, 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 bump. So yeah, it's good to have the 6 points. And Pataudry, the second game of the season, we're still a wee bit kind of not up to match fitness. They've brought in new players, kind of the unknown quantity as well, so you don't know what you're getting. All in all, a 3-1 victory. I'm happy.
I mean, I fully agree with that. I think it's quite a good summation of the game. Listen, we know, as I said there before you, it's not perfect, but it's 2 games into the season. It's a new style. Celtic are learning a new style, and they're doing it whilst getting results and winning games of football, and that's the most important thing right now, Jed. But just again, the same to yourself, a brief overview of how you felt the game went.
Well, I definitely know, Stephen, you changed your opinion a little bit. I mean, I think Aberdeen are going to be very, very difficult to beat at home this season. Hats off to them. I thought Barry Robson's done a fantastic job since he's went in. Duke and Morris, they two I thought had great games for Aberdeen. Taylor struggled with Morris, but I was delighted to get 3 points. Yes, we missed a few chances as well. You know, was it the boy Devlin cleared it off the line from Maeda? Kyogo had a chance. Abada had a chance with hurting his left foot in the first half. As you maybe have passed it to Kyogo, but 3 points is 3 points. Like I say, I reckon Aberdeen will not lose many games at home this year. And if you look as well, if you look at the next 6 weeks, we had start for the weekend there. Aberdeen away, got Rangers away, got Hearts away.
Yep.
And Hibs.
What's that? If we can get maximum points from Aberdeen and Hearts, and even win at Ibrox or get a draw, that's a fantastic start for us. So it is. And Rangers will not want to go up to Aberdeen and play. And what I thought as well, if you look at the game, the Aberdeen fans stayed to the end. Usually when they're getting beat, I thought they're obviously quite happy with what they're watching. They definitely gave us a fight, even though we had loads of possession. And I thought in the second half we certainly controlled the game a bit better. But at 2-1, you're always that wee bit worried, they're a set piece and things like that. But 3 points, I'll take that every day of the week up there. Every day of the week.
Can I say something as well, Ross? Like Jed mentioned the crowd there, and I think he's 100% right in that situation because, I mean, years gone by, Aberdeen struggled to fill Pataudry. It was always looked like a half-filled stadium because they kind of knew and understood what the result would be. But I think what Barry Robson's done, he's come in and rejuvenated that. And also as well, and again, it's not praise, but I like to see other Scottish clubs being ambitious and they're scouting European markets, they're signing different types of players, and they're creating a style of football under Robson, which again, it works for them. And like you said, Jeff, they will be difficult. And the likes of Rangers, or if you're a Hearts, or if you're a Hibs, I mean, Hibs under Lee Johnson at the minute are a mixed bag, and the Hearts have 3 people in their coaching team. No one knows who the manager is, and then Rangers are on the bout with Ian Beale from EastEnders. So they're going to find it tough up there. They really are. And I thought as well, and I said there, I came away frustrated. A wee bit of anger was in me after that game, and I just felt it. But as the day went on, I was thinking about it more, looked at the highlights again, and I was like, actually, we got the result, we dug in. And if it was last year or the year before under Postecoglou and we came away with a 3-1 victory, we'd be buzzing about it. We'd be saying we never stopped. And it's exactly what we didn't do in that game. I mean, like you said, Jed, we missed opportunities, and Duke, and we're going to obviously come on the performances, but Duke and Morris in particular, by the way, he didn't really play much last season for Aberdeen, but I thought he was fantastic down the right-hand side, and they caused us problems, and we dealt with it well, and we got the 3 points.
I mean, I think what Rod just said,
go ahead, Jed.
They normally teams sit back. Aberdeen came at us and they were trying to play the ball over the top, and they got their goal from it as well. And it's unlike Carter Vickers to get caught out like that. But there was a couple of occasions they played the ball over the top. So they obviously went with a game plan, and Barry Robson said that, but he did say Celtic found ways to get around us. And again, I'm taking the positives from it. So we ain't going to be able to play the fluent football all the time. But I stress again, 3 points. That's the main thing. Up there, down the road, 3 points. Thank you.
Aye. Anytime you go to Pittodrie to come away with 3 points, especially the way Aberdeen played, like you have touched on it, like they played such a high press, like it was fast football. It was, I mean, not to the level of what Postecoglou's Celtic team played, but it was that sort of idea. It was in your face, fast, non-stop football, and they really came at Celtic, and I thought Celtic dealt with it pretty well for the most part. I was a bit like you, Stephen, off the back of the game. Listen, I understand that you've came through that game and you've won it, and it's 3 points, and you're happy to go back down the road with that. But I was thinking to myself, wasn't it a great performance, and Aberdeen were really in top A's and stuff like that. But then actually, at the end of the game, the stats came up, and I was actually really surprised that I made a note of them, some of the stats, like shots at goal. Celtic had 16 to Aberdeen's 11. On target, we had 10 to Aberdeen's 2. We had 67% possession to Aberdeen's 33. When you look at it like that, I've said numerous times, Stephen, I know you do the stats drop and stuff like that. I watch football with my eyes, and I watched football with my eyes yesterday. I didn't think we dominated the stats as much as what they read. What do you think on that?
I totally agree, because watching the game, I thought Aberdeen had the ball as much as we did in terms of, especially in the first half, by the way. I thought Aberdeen played really well. Monty came in there and said he doesn't agree with the Aberdeen praise. It's not praise as such, Monty. It's just the kind of realism in terms of, we always want the game. We want to test ourselves, and we always speak about European football as a big jump. But see, getting tested at domestic level, it's good too, because you can see what the team's made of. You can see the backbone, you can see the courage, the determination to see out a victory like that. And with the stats side of things, the ball, to be fair, probably spent more time in the air than it did on the deck.
Oh, aye.
And that suited Aberdeen down to the ground. Big Miovski was winning flick-ons, and Duke, again, I like Duke, right? I've made no mistake about this, but he's so physical, and he can run. And even Leighton Clarkson, who's a brilliant buy in their midfield for Liverpool, like, they got him back on a permanent deal from last season. Excellent player. And we always want the SPFL to improve, don't we? As a collective. So we need the teams around us to improve, and this is what I'm saying. Celtic are miles ahead of Aberdeen, but they get a tough game in your second game of the season. I think it's fantastic. It shows you where we're at. And Rodgers nailed it for me. He said, again, I'll reiterate it, the performance will come, but right now it's about getting the 3 points, getting the points on the board, and go back down the Parkhead with it secured. And you have to look at it like that. Yeah. Like me, I'm really off the cuff, and I make, again, everyone knows this about me, I kind of react at situations instead of kind of just letting it dwell and letting it kind of fester and come to a conclusion. But yeah, again, came away from it, thought about it, and it was like, actually, it was a decent result. And like Alistair Jack said, that's our biggest win at Pittodrie since 2019. And if you
Oh, is
also
it?
cast your mind back as well, it wasn't so long ago that Adam Montgomery had to play like a last minute ball to Jada to seal a 2-1 victory under Postecoglou, and that kind of kick-started us to the league that year. So Pittodrie's difficult. It's like the third biggest team in the country. Some may say one of the biggest budgets in the country, and 3-1 victory to me. Come on, what more can you ask for?
Aye. Listen, the fans got behind him, and you sort of touched on that, Stephen, in terms of obviously their support, and I think again it's similar in that the Aberdeen fans probably see what Barry Robson's what happened there. They probably see what Barry Robson's trying to do, but I'll just move on to the goals, Jed. I'll come to yourself. Obviously, we sort of, I was going to say we see out that early pressure for Aberdeen. Celtic had their moments as well, but they get the opening goal and it sort of settles things down a wee bit for a wee while. Obviously, Abada gets it. What was your sort of, initial reaction to obviously it was clearly that it was onside, but initially I thought he was off. But just obviously touch on the goal, and then what's your thoughts on in terms of Abada going forward? Is he going to outscore or higher goal numbers than what Jota brought last season? Anthony Joshua in the brain.
I mean, I say that it was a silly free kick the Aberdeen boy gave, going in the back of Ralston. But look, great ball in. Maeda jumped, got up for a wee guy, got up pretty high. And yeah, we all thought it was offside. VR clearly showed it was onside. Brilliant. We move on. And then the second goal, you could see Kyogo again. He's going to be doing that quite a bit. He's just waiting for a wee silly back pass and then bang. If you look at the goal last week, he stayed up where we won the ball, and then it was Maeda knocked it down to the wing, then it got brought in. So Kyogo's always going to stay up a wee bit, and I thought he took his goal brilliant because they boys were coming flying back to try and was it Devlin? He made a mistake, but no, delighted. And the third goal, Yang, brilliant footwork. Again, Maeda had a great chance 30 seconds before that. 1-on-1 with the keeper and just took his time too much. But Yang's footwork and great pass back to O'Reilly, who has been very good for the last 2 games, where other people in the midfield haven't, including their captain.
I totally agree. Listen, I totally agree with that. We'll come on to. I'm going to touch on player performances a little bit later on, but just in terms of the goals, I agree with you, Jed. Stephen, the first goal, obviously, Abada gets it. I think obviously he stays onside, but it's that instinct that Abada's got. I think there's no he's not as instinctive as Kyogo, but I think in terms of instinct in front of goal, I think he's probably next in line. Just talk me through what you thought of all the goals, and same question to you. Do you think that Abada is going to be able to bring a better numbers this season in terms of goals than what Jota did?
Well, I mean, one of the best bits of business that Rodgers has done is convince Abada to stay. He's one of the players, for me, he can really improve. And you look at the likes of Harvey Barnes, he's quite a similar profile to him, just direct, driving. And funny enough, Harvey Barnes scored in his debut for Newcastle. So again, that's testament to probably Rodgers' coaching and that as well. But coming back to Abada, like, his numbers are there. So I mean, they've always been there. It's consistent levels with Abada. He needs to do that week in, week out in a Celtic shirt, not just 1 week he's brilliant and 3 weeks he's off the pace. But I mean, in terms of the instinct, he's probably up there with Giakoumakis in terms of one-touch finishes. Every time he's in the box, it's just bang, it's in the net. He's done it against Rangers. He's done it up in Pittodrie against Aberdeen now. And to be at the back post, as you said, to be in that position, just to mop up anything that comes out, you have to have them types of players in about the team. Kyogo, we all know, he's definitely a poacher, but if Abada's chipping in with goals, it's fantastic. In terms of numbers, he'll better Jota's goal return, I think, to be honest, but I don't think he'll do the assist. I don't think he'll be up with like 11, 12 assists. Maybe that's a struggle. Maybe we need to look at that a wee bit more. But Kyogo, I just thought, again, like Jed said, that Aberdeen defender Devlin had an absolute mare. He didn't even look behind him. He just tried to go for the wee back header to Roos, and Kyogo's there picking up the scraps like Abada did at the first goal. And the control, did you see the way he took the ball down? He kind of drifted it away from the two centre halves chasing him, and he bought himself enough time. Bang! It was past the keeper in no time. And then again, Matt O'Reilly, he is bang on form, by the way. He's loving this new lease of life he's getting under Postecoglou. He's speaking under Rodgers. He's speaking so freely that people are kind of saying he's having digs at Postecoglou. I don't think he is. I just think he's preferring this type of management. He's preferring the kind of man management style, so to speak, of a Rodgers. Kind of take the arm around him, bring him into his office, ask him what he wants to do, what's his best position, what does he like to do on the pitch. And like he said in his interview, he sees more of the game now. He's coming on to the play. He's linking it up. He's getting into the box at the right times, and like Atate was doing last season. And already saying this is the best position for him, and Rodgers has got that out of him. And like you said, Jed, we'll come on to that. The midfield to me hasn't been mightily impressive, but Matt O'Reilly has been absolutely fantastic. 2 goals in 2 games, and it's good to see him having that smile back in his face. And I thought it was quite telling. He was one of the interview in Celtic TV asked him about last season. His first goal wasn't until February, and he was like, "How come you've got off to a flat start?" And he turns around and he's so blasé about it. He's like, "I'm not caring as much." You would take that as a bad way, but what he meant was because he was trying so hard that season, he was trying. It was affecting other parts of his game. Where now he's just letting it come to him. He's being patient. He's not forcing opportunities. He's getting in the box at the right time. And Yang, by the way, wow. What a bit of assist. Do you know what I mean? He took it in, really tight space, switched it foot to foot, low ball in, first touch finished by Matt O'Reilly to the bottom left corner, and that was game over for Aberdeen. And I think as well, you have to look at it like O'Reilly and Abada are going to be standout performers for this season. I'm so excited to see them develop under Rodgers.
But you've got to mind, I know we're still looking for a winger, but Abada's probably going to be playing more this season. Where Postecoglou was playing more Maeda and Jota, where Abada's going to, I think, get a lot more starts this year. And you just need to hope Rodgers puts the arm around the shoulder. And like his man, the rumour was he was going to leave. So what does he say to him to, make him stay? We just need your fingers crossed he keeps it going. Well, let's be honest, I mean, he does. The header, the goal he scored, he does. He's done that all the time, coming in at the back post. Look at the goals he scored against Rangers with Barisic on his knees. He's running in. Nobody's seen him coming around, and he'll get more goals like that. So
he just finds himself in the right positions. I don't know if it's even by design. He just, like we said, it's that instinct. Obviously, we're talking about Matt O'Reilly there. I think, Stephen, he's just a very honest guy. When he gets asked something, he'll just answer it. Whatever's on his mind will just come out. I like that. And I think it's sort of Rodgers we've spoke about recently has been taking that sort of stance as well. But we've sort of touched on our goals there. We'll touch on the Aberdeen goal. I'll just come at you, Jed. Obviously, it looks... I can see why people are saying Carter Vickers was at fault. I think he gets, for me, probably is out of position and his body shape's all wrong. Lets himself get sort of caught under the ball. And then, obviously, I think it's Duke, runs off him, gets in behind him. I've heard people online saying about, obviously, Nawrocki then lets Miovski run off him. I just don't think he's set because he doesn't expect CCV to do what he does. I don't know what you thought on the goal and if it could have been avoided.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, how many mistakes has Carter Vickers done like that? Not many. Honestly, I can't remember one where somebody's got the better of him like that. Now, he did get taken off at half time. Was he having a wee injury playing? Was he feeling it? And he just couldn't get his turn the pace. But that Duke's quick. And I thought he just got caught the wrong side of him a little bit. A game which isn't right, like Carter Vickers. He's normally quite a powerful and he'll boss players off him. But Duke just got round him and then played the ball in. That was it. And by the way, Nawrocki, I know people are doing that, but it's his second game for the club, and I thought he had a good game. So that for just coming into the side, and he's still a young guy as well. So no, I was quite pleased with him.
Aye. Well, listen, we'll just go into player performances. Obviously, Jed's touched on the Navrocki performance there. I totally agree with you, Jed. I thought he done fair. He wasn't outstanding, but I thought he'd done well in the game. You could maybe pick up that obviously Miovski's run off him for the goal, but I don't think you can really blame him too much. What did you think his performance on the whole, Stephen?
I think Navrocki just looks really solid. What I like about him, he steps in and sees the danger. So before the ball hits the striker, he's in first, getting the toe in or getting the head in. He seems really alert that way. He broke their press a few times, getting into the midfield and popping it to McGregor or popping it to O'Reilly. And he looks quick too. There was a point in the first half where I think he had a foot chase with either it was Morris or Miovski, and both can run. Right. And he caught up with him, and he got the ball. He stood them up, and he shepherded them away from danger. And like you said, for that goal, it was Carter Vickers' mistake for me. He didn't read the flight of the ball really well. He didn't, as Jed said, he was caught on the wrong side. But then again, his hamstring was probably playing up that whole game, and he was probably trying to fight through that pain barrier. And hopefully, it's not too long. But yeah, for 2 games coming in, and by the way, he had one de facto pre-season game with the club, the Atletico Bilbao, and the rest have been competitive. So he's had to settle in really quickly and quickly learn his teammates and quickly get the grips with the speed of Scottish football. And so far, he's shown up well. And I think for Starfelt leaving, even Roger said he was kind of shocked by it. There was no signs from him and then the last week or so, he was like, I'm off to Celta Vigo. And then to get Navrocki in, who's been a revelation in Poland with Legia Warsaw, I think it's a great bit of business, and probably the only bit of business that's a first team starter in this case. And he's shown up really well. And I think the only thing for me, again, with Navrocki, we can't be over reliant on him, because I know if Carter Vickers is going to be out for a long time, then the reliance on Navrocki is going to be incredible, because he's going to be basically the senior pro centre half. And if Largo Bielka comes in, then it's going to be them two, and that's a fresh partnership, and that's something we'll have to get used to very quickly.
But Stephen, I have been quite a critic of Welsh, but credit where it's due, I thought he had a good second half, Welsh, and I thought we controlled the game more in the second half, and that was credit to Welsh as well, because like I say, I have been his biggest critic, and when he was coming on again, I'm like, oh no, but the guy done well. So, and Rodgers is praising him, so he must see something in him I haven't seen. But listen, there'll be new players coming in, so I'm more concerned about the left back and our captain.
What are you laughing at?
You Gregory.
No, listen, see, Stephen Welsh, I've said on numerous occasions, like, he's not going to be a first choice for Celtic, not by any stretch. But he's come in there yesterday, like, cold, if you like, not expecting to get on. You don't expect to get on as a centre half, as a substitute. He's come in to a really difficult game at Pittodrie. Aberdeen had their tails up. Was it? They won 2-1. We went in at half time. The pressure's on Aberdeen. You know that Aberdeen are going to come at you. And alongside a new guy in Navrocki, thought he dealt with it really, really well. I'll just come to you on Welsh and his performance, Stephen, and his position in the sort of squad going forward as well.
I mean, not to sound harsh, but Welsh doesn't get in my team or get in my squad. To be fair, like I know that Rodgers praised him, but he's hardly going to come out and say he's not part of my plans. He has to include him somewhere or another and make him feel good about himself. And Welsh is, I described him, obviously not quality-wise, but like a John O'Shea. He'll come in 6 or 7 games a season, do a job, and he's back out of the team again. That's if he stays. And he's a Celtic man, and Roger said he wants him to stay, and Stephen Welsh wants to stay. But if I'm looking at that, if he's still young, I'd be wanting to get out and get first-team football and improve myself and get a good move to maybe Serie A or whatever, because you've seen a lot of Scottish players go there recently, or the French league, and he came in and he was solid, 100%, but he's just one. He's a squad player. He's nothing more and nothing less to me, and that's really all he'll ever be. And yeah, he came into a tough environment, but again, he played some games under Postecoglou. He did well. He's never done anything majorly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He's never done errors or mistakes or whatever. But he's just not. He's just not good enough. If he was good enough, he'd be breaking that mold and getting into the team more. And he's 23, 24 now, and he's been around that squad for years. I know he got an injury in Postecoglou's first season. He was starting quite a lot of the games in Postecoglou's first season, obviously when he was getting that defence kind of sorted. But Jed's back in. But just for me, he's just, I wouldn't have him about. Cut the deadwood for me. Just sell him. That's pretty much.
I know, like as I've said, he's not going to be a starter. But sometimes if he's willing to stay, fair enough. I think sometimes you need guys like Welsh in your squad. You said it yourself. He'll never be a squad player, and that's fine. But you need that. You need a squad player. You need a Johnny Hayes, who was a squad player, but he came in and done a job last time under Brendan Rodgers. What do you think yourself, Jed? Do you think is terms of a squad player for Welsh?
Like Ross, he's the one player I've slated, and I don't like slating any Celtic player. I don't think he's good enough for us, but I need to give him praise for his second half performance yesterday. Now, it could have also been because when he came on the second half, Atati came on in the brief appearance Atati was on, I thought he done well. And then when he went off, Home came on, I thought he done brilliant. So that took a lot of pressure off the defence because Home is starting to sweep, getting the balls, getting in a few tackles and winning them. So that took the pressure off the two centre-backs. But is he my first choice centre-half? Absolutely no chance. No chance.
Aye, no, listen, I don't think anybody's...
Needs must now.
Aye. I don't think anybody's advocating for... What's going on tonight? Everybody's jumping in and out of this stream.
We'll have that Gustav Lagerberg or something.
Aye, Lagerbielka.
And then I think I seen today we're in Quentin Merlin, a left back from Nantes.
Aye.
From France,
He's 5'8".
Sounds like he went to Hogwarts.
I know, but I just think we need a bit of physicality in the team.
Listen, I don't know anything about that guy. I did hear the name mentioned just not long before we actually came on live. But what did you say he was another defender, Jed?
Yeah, he's a France under 21. He's only 21 years of age. Fees 7 or 8 million. I think it's Stephen McGowan, who seemed the guy from the Scottish Daily Mail, who seemingly comes up. He gets some good info through the club. Now, whether that will come to fruition or not, we don't know. Mm-hmm. But I feel sorry for Taylor because he had a fantastic season last year, and I don't know, just feeling the pressure a wee bit, and the fans are getting on his back. But he's just getting pulled out. Like say that boy Morris ripped him to shreds on numerous occasions yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So we need somebody in there. Now Bernabe, I just don't know what's going to happen to him. I just can't see it. I just don't know what we're going to do. We definitely need, in an ideal world, we would get Kieran Tierney back on loan. That's the only way we could afford him.
Aye.
But Taylor will need to improve big time before we get to Ibrox. And imagine getting into Europe with the form he's on now.
Aye. Listen, my issue with it, I'm the same as you. I think he's been a tremendous player for 2 years in the inverted full-back role. I think before that, when I think it was Neil Lennon brought him in, I think I liked Taylor, but I understood people's gripes in terms of the overlapping full-back. I understood the gripes. I think that we're going to go into like the sort of style of play later on, but I think looking at it now, I think Greg Taylor, I don't know what you think on this, Stephen. I think he looks a bit more exposed because Maeda's not protecting him as much as he did under Postecoglou in terms of, I think the Maeda and Abada are playing a bit more narrow now, and I think that probably Rodgers does want Greg Taylor to be an overlapping fullback. I think Ralston is probably doing it slightly better, but none of them are actually being proper overlapping fullbacks. And I think it was evident in the third goal and how narrow Taylor was, and he gets it to Yang. It did work in that instant, but I think Rodgers does want him to be that overlapping fullback. I don't know if he can be that. I have to hold my hands up and say that if we can get somebody else in to replace Greg Taylor that's going to play that role better, then I would absolutely do it. I think if we do get somebody else in, then I think Bernabei's Celtic career's over. But I don't know. Obviously, if we get Kieran Tierney in, then it might not be over for Bernabei because it's just a loan. I would love to get Kieran Tierney, but I'm just like, I would be back to square one again at the end of the season. What's your thoughts on all of that?
I mean, first of all, I want to apologise if I've dropped out a few times. I cannot control this Wi-Fi. It's absolutely abysmal. I mean, can you see me and hear me? Yeah, all good?
Aye. Can you see me
do? Stephen Ray comes in. Taylor isn't good enough to be a traditional fullback for Celtic. He's too small, too slow, not dynamic enough. The inverted road hid most of his weaknesses. Stephen again, KT will go to Newcastle. They're looking to upgrade on Dan Burn, and then Sean the Mac, who seems to be on my kind of thinking, is the biscuit tin mentality creeping in again. But in regards to signing a new left back, I think it's imperative. It's a must. And I've said this, and I don't like saying it because I appreciate how good Greg Taylor was under Postecoglou. But if we change system, we can't accommodate players who can't deal with that system. Like you said, Maeda is not tracking back as much as he did because I think Rodgers wants him up the top of the field where he's going to make the most kind of danger. You might see that coming in more in European football, the tracking back, but in domestic, I don't think he's going to do it as much. Greg Taylor, Morris, by the way, was playing, I know it's no comparison here, but he was playing in the Panorama National League 2 years ago for like Barnet or something, and now he's up destroying the best left back in the SPFL. So again, there's all sorts of issues. He looks far too slow for me at the minute. I don't know if he's carrying a fitness issue. I don't know what's going on. He just looks laboured. Even when he was breaking into like the midfield, he just looked like a yard of pace. It disappeared, if you know what I mean. It was not crisp. It wasn't fast. There was no quick movement. And even Rodgers referenced the throw-ins, by the way. The time he took to try and pick a player out sometimes was incredible. I was cracking up more than that than the actual game. No, 100%. But I mean, but I mean, there was times where Riley was coming in, he was taking too long. There was times other players were making movements, he wasn't finding them. And I know we all stick up for Greg Taylor, yeah, brilliant. But I'm being honest with you, if we sign a left back in a permanent, I think it's the end of Greg Taylor at Celtic. I think it's the end of him. I think Bernabei will push up ahead of him if he gets his act together. Because, like it or not, anyone who's listening, Bernabei's more suited to that fullback position than Taylor is all day, every day. All he needs to learn is the defensive and get better at that. We know that. That's his deficiency. And he'll get there with training. He'll get there with dedication. But Taylor's been there now for 3-4 years. He had his peak seasons coming in the inverted fullback system, which suited him well at that time. But I think we're seeing all those weaknesses come to fruition. We've seen it in Lenny's season when he got him. He wasn't really great at the fullback position. He wasn't getting beyond the winger for the overlapping. No pace in that instance. He has no strength. And teams are targeting that position. It's no coincidence that every time a team gets a long ball, they're hitting that diagonal to the right-hand side because 9 times out of 10, he's not winning it. He's not doing anything with it. Yeah, he gets it in about it, but Morris tore him a new one. Majowski was bullying him, and there was no answer for it. Only for Naraki being there. It could have been a worse situation for us as a team, and he was there sweeping up Taylor's deficiencies. And look, he'll remain as number one. I know this until we get a left back. But if we're getting the Champions League with him as number one, we're in a hiding. We're in a hiding to nothing, and I really do believe that. And I want to come to the comments because I feel like I haven't spoken enough. Connor Sullivan, besides Taylor and Hart, not being good enough. Our midfield is woefully weak. Calmac, Turnbull, and Atate have no physicality and will be ragdolled in Europe. Balls to the walls, what a name. He's been useless in the system. Alan Wood, someone will have to drive Burnaby to training. And this is a cracking shout, by the way. Josh Dodge is available for approximately 5 million at Verona. He's 6'3", left back, Scottish, 21 years old. We missed the boat in these. We missed the boat a lot in these kind of transfers. Sean the Mac, Stephen, lovely fella, but drop him. Monty, Taylor is Kilmarnock level, and the fullback position, it shows what level he belongs at. It's not at us, and I firmly believe if we get another left back in, it's curtains. He'll be gone.
Well, listen, I struggle to, on the evidence of what I've seen so far this season, I struggle to argue against that. But at the same time, I look at it and go, he isn't performing as well as what he has been doing previously. I don't know, given time, again, he could get better at the role, but I totally take on board. There's a lot of people got reservations about him, and everything you said there about his pace, his height, I can't argue against it, but I've always been
if you look at the other side, the profile of a perfect fullback's Alistair Johnson. Tall, athletic, physicality, can get up and down. If we're doing the traditional fullback system, we need that on the left-hand side.
Aye. I know, listen, when you look at it now and you're saying that Anthony Ralston's probably playing the role better than Taylor is, that tells you a lot. Listen, I'll say it again. If we can get somebody in, an Alistair Johnson level, which is difficult to do, by the way, but if we can, you absolutely go and do it.
I think what a lot of us fans we've been used to in the last Angie's transfer windows, we got the players in early, with the exception was the CCV came right at the day. But the rest of it done the business early, we were bedding the players in. So I think that's why we all had it. We were all told there was 35 million going to be made available for Ange. That was before even the Jota sale. So where is that money? A lot of the money's probably going on giving Maeda and Kyogo new contracts, McGregor a new contract. And let's be honest, guys, Callum McGregor has been poor. Some of his passing, given the ball away, if you look at the pre-season as well, and against Ross County, I thought I was a wee bit concerned. I just hope he's going to play himself out of it. I don't know, somebody put up earlier about McGregor not being European level Atate. Look, when Atate's on his game, but it's when he is on his game, he's phenomenal. I thought he showed glimpses of that when he came on the second half. Unfortunately, off injured. But we can't just keep back. I mean, we have got quite many midfielders have we got? Do you know, Home,
quite a lot.
You know, the South Korean boy as well. But Home, I have been impressed with him. But I just hope Callum McGregor just gets. The guy has constantly played football for years, hardly misses a game. And we all have bad days at work. Let's not kid ourselves. So I just hope he's going to have a few bad days at the office, and he's going to come through.
See on the Callum McGregor thing. Alan Woods comes in. This was what I was thinking as well. Home can come in and let Calmac have more of a rest. I think you said it, Ross, before. Home reminds you of that Calmac type 6 position, playing the ball nice and easy, breaking the lines, putting in tackles. And I thought when Home came on, he was doing what Callum McGregor should have been doing, breaking up the play, getting in about it. And I have to agree.
It probably helped him coming on with the centre backs because they weren't under as much pressure in the second half as they were the first. And I think Home had a lot to do with that.
100%. I think as you said, like McGregor for me against Aberdeen, there was one point where he turned on the ball and he was running towards the throw in the line, and he just got it took off and he fumbled it, and they were on the attack. And there was numerous occasions when he'd done that. And look, again, like Greg Taylor, no one's immune to criticism. Just because he's the captain doesn't mean he's not going to get it when he's been woeful. And he has been, to be fair. And they Odin come in, and I thought he looked fantastic. And hopefully, maybe like the Kilmarnock game coming up, he can maybe start in the 6th position. Yeah. And like you said, give Calmac that break. Just just to relax. He's playing like 100 games a season, so he just needs to just breathe.
Well, by the way, guys, just to let you know, my managing director is an ex-footballer, and he's still, I'm not going to mention the Celtic player, but he's still really pal with me, and he was showing me a WhatsApp he got from him. He was delighted that Rodgers coming back. Delighted. Mm-hmm. No, read into that what you want, but he personally was delighted. So it will be interesting.
Rodgers is an elite manager, and he was the best option available to us. But I think it was a no-brainer getting him back. Absolutely, totally agree with that. But I'll just come on. I'll come to you, Jed. I sort of, I'm not saying, oh, look, I was right or anything like that, but I said on Friday night that Turnbull, he was brilliant against Ross County at home. I think he turned in the type of performance that I had sort of alluded to on Friday night in terms of, I said that going into the Ibrox game, I would still pick Hatate over him, even though he scored 2 goals against Ross County and he played really well, because he's had enough chances in these difficult away grounds and the game sort of bypasses him. And I think it done that on yesterday. Sorry, I think it done it. To be honest with you, I was, and I know Brendan Rodgers wasn't going to do it because for the guy's confidence and stuff like that. But after 20 minutes, I would have took Turnbull off and got Hatate on the pitch. That's how poor he was. What was your thoughts on his performance, and if you agree with it? Getting him off after 20 minutes. Aye, for you, Jedi.
Yeah, I thought Hatate done more in his brief appearance in the second half than what Turnbull done in the whole of the first. So, and that's why, because the week before he was outstanding against Ross County. It's just getting him to be that consistent player. Where, look, let's be honest, on their game, Hatate's a different league to Turnbull. Different league. So, it's, if he keeps playing at that, he'll struggle to get back in. He won't be in the starting, because the way things is, the way that they're playing now, O'Reilly's nailed down to start. And he isn't going to stop drop McGregor. He maybe do it next weekend because it's a League Cup game.
Aye.
But in the league games, Cal McGregor and O'Reilly's the start. And then Hatate, hopefully if he's still going to be here. So that's, but the Turnbull, too inconsistent for me. When he's good, he's good, but he's too inconsistent.
I think he's a very good player for Celtic when we are controlling the football match, but when we're up against it and you need legs in there, you need a bit of tenacity. Rodgers used the words himself yesterday in his interview. I think, Stephen, when you need that, I think Turnbull does come up short. And listen, we'll get on to it, but I think there have been a lot of comments saying that Celtic's midfield will get overrun in Europe because there's no enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Like physicality, strength, an imposing figure.
But
what you saying, Jed?
I personally don't think I don't think we ever replaced Stuart Armstrong. The guy, a midfielder who's going to get run with it. Who have we got? McGregor used to do that. He doesn't do that anymore. You know, he is more playing, like you say, the number 6 role. Where Stuart Armstrong, I thought he was fantastic for us. And honestly, I don't think we've ever replaced him.
No, I agree with that. I've made the case that Turnbull could be that sort of Armstrong of this Rodgers tenure.
But we're all hoping that.
Certainly in terms of running with the ball and the attacking prowess, but in terms of competitiveness, that or the physicality, but sort of that line of that train of thought, Monty. But Stephen, on Turnbull, just what you think about obviously what we've said there about in terms of when we're in control of a game, he could be that Armstrong type, but when we're up against it, for me, he lacks that tenacity and that belief to really get a hold of it, get a grip of a game in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I mean, Turnbull for me is what I would describe as a home player, parkhead player on the nice surface, 60,000 fans behind you. We know we're going to have the most of possession, and he has time to pick a pass. He has time to take a shot from 40 yards out. They might go in, might not go in. But against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, it's a concern for me. A lot of people are saying tonight, Sean the Mac in the comments, we need a bastard, and I've been saying this for the last 3 years. We're too weak in midfield, and we talk about Atate, by the way, like he's a tackler. Atate's not a tackler. He gets in about it, like he gets in about you. He sticks with you, but he's not one to put the foot in. I've seen him back out of tackles. So I think the conception of having Atate in your midfield adds physicality or adds something different. Yeah, he's quicker, but he's the same kind of effect for me as Turnbull. They don't get stuck in. They don't put the foot in. They don't break up the play. The only midfielder I've seen doing it in the first 2 games is Olin Thiago Home. And that was funny enough at the Tawdry when he done that tackle against their player and he drove up the left-hand side of it. But it is a concern. And the more you look at it, I mean, yeah, we won 3-1 and fantastic, but the 90% of the comments is saying that our midfield is slow and it's weak and it's lacking a bit of pace and a bit of creativity, and you can see it now. It's evident, and even Calmack to an extent, he plays the deep line playmaker role perfectly well, but he stopped the breaking into the final half of the field or the final third or getting into the box, and yeah, that's down to positioning. O'Reilly's doing it. He's doing it really well. 2 goals in 2 games, like we spoke about. But Turnbull, like you, Ross, I was like, wow, what's going on? Like, let's get Atate on, and then Rio come on and he got a calf injury, and I've seen people online obviously going, he's doing that to protect himself, but I don't think he is. I don't think he's the type of player to do that. No. He just genuinely got injured and he felt maybe a wee twang in his calf, and better to be safe than sorry. But yeah, Turnbull, it's nice and pretty when you're playing Ross County at home and he has time, but when you're in the cut and thrust of a fast game away from home, whether it's Easter Road, Tynecastle, Pittodrie, you can't go into a game like that with him. And like you said, Ray Ibrox as well, I mean, whether we like it or not, the Rangers midfield has pace, it has power, it has physicality. And I just think for me, we're lacking that. And it would not to compare players, but you've seen the new guy that signed Cifuentes. He looks a really physical prospect. He looks really quick. And obviously the likes of Todd, TikTok, Cantwell, all them types of players. I just think for me that we need to improve that side. And I know Rodgers has said that when he first came in. He wants more physical players. He wants the kind of 6 foot plus players to come in and add to the technical abilities of the team. That's for me what we're lacking in midfield, and it is a wee bit of a worry, to be honest.
Listen, I don't. Our midfield 3, whether it was O'Reilly or Moy, I think they worked brilliantly under Ange, and nobody was saying last year that they lacked pace. I don't think anybody.
The reason why it looked like they didn't lack pace last season is because it was so quick. The ball was moving quicker.
Aye,
so you're getting up the pitch, but you're getting up the pitch quicker.
I think that's the reason it looks like that it lacks pace now, because they're playing it a bit more methodically, a bit more slow. I think you can say there Hatate doesn't put the foot in and stuff like that, but he's come into that game. Everybody could see what we needed. Somebody to just get in there, win the second balls and stuff like that. Hatate came in and done that, and then he provided.
Don't actually know something. What? Rio Hatate had the worst pressing stats in our team last season.
Aye, I know. Aye.
But you wouldn't think that though, would you?
No, I know.
That's what I'm saying. He's not that. I get what you're saying.
I'm not talking about pressing. I'm talking about in about the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And you're trying to win wee balls, and then he'll win the ball. He'll find the cute pass, one turn, and he takes a couple of men out. He's got that about him, and it was lacking when Turnbull was on. I think Hatate came on and he made a huge difference, and then he has to go off. But then, as you said, Thiago Home comes on, and he looks a real proper player, like a real find. Jed, what do you think of him?
Yeah, I've been impressed with what I've seen. I mean, if you look, the guys that we have signed, Yang, Home, Comet, they're only 20, 21. You know, I know people are saying they're prospects, but I have been impressed with them so far. But look, it's early doors. It is early doors. I think we've got to see him on a full 90 minutes. Is that going to be at Kilmarnock next week? It may well be. But we need to see more of them, and also we need we need backup in this. We need to get us another striker in as well because we all been out injured. So to me, it's left back, a striker, and honestly, I'd love to see another Stuart Armstrong type midfielder. That would be great for me. Someday, I know you're going to say boys bully you, but no players run like it when players run at them. No, I mean, you hate to bring Gascoigne. You know, when he got the ball, he just ran and he would glide through players. You know, we need somebody that can do that, and we haven't had that for ages. We've not had it. Hatate and Moy was all about the intricate passing, the crossfield ball. And I watched. Actually seen highlights of the League Cup semi-final where Kyogo scored the first goal, and then the final, and both Hatate and Moy were fantastic. But it was just they moved the ball quicker and they were finding the passing, they were finding the player, and we've not been doing that yet. We've not been doing it yet. But Hatate hasn't been. Has his head been turned? I don't know. But guys, we need to. The Europe's round the corner. We need to get things, or we are looking at getting a doing.
Yep, see, totally agree.
My thing is, Jed, right, listen, I agree with the sort of the signings that you've sort of touched on there that you're maybe looking to get in. In an ideal world, I'll come to you on this, Stephen. In an ideal world, I would like to see us get a left back. I would like to see us get that big, physical, powerful midfield player who can also play. I don't want a hatchet man. Do you know what I mean? I want a good player, but somebody that can impose themselves physically. Because I do agree, we don't have that in the middle of the park. We have really good players in the middle of the park, but we don't have somebody that can impose themselves physically. I would like to see another striker come in the door. We've obviously been linked with Ryan Fraser as well. I think a lot of people are wanting to see another left winger come in. I don't know if I think he would be a good signing. If you're looking at Ryan Fraser in isolation and not, obviously you can look at it and say, right, he's not played a lot of football and stuff like that. But if Celtic are going to do that deal, I'll trust that Brendan Rodgers is obviously having conversations about that. But if for me not being privy to that, Ryan Fraser, the player in isolation, but he's got years of EPL experience. He's got international experience. I think he's 29-year-old. I think he could. I'm not saying he's going to go in and take Maeda's place, but I think he could bring a lot of really good attributes to that Celtic team. Certainly, if Ryan Fraser gets the 2 chances that Maeda had yesterday at Pittodrie, we're looking at a 5-1 victory. I think he scores them.
What gives you the confidence he would score them?
Because he's a better finisher than Maeda. Maeda's technically...
Maeda's scored more than Fraser has in his whole career. He was the top goal scorer in the J League. He got 11 goals for his last season.
He went through in the middle there, though.
Aye, but go ahead. You finish and I'll come on.
Well, my opinion is that he is a better finisher than Maeda. His decision making in the final third is better than Maeda's. I'm not saying he's a better player and he's going to take Maeda's place, but he certainly would be a good weapon to have. But in terms of, as I was saying, in an ideal world, the positions I would like to fill, and I think probably had Ange not left, maybe he would have addressed the positions. But Rodgers has come in. He's had to have time to assess the squad and give everybody a fair crack of the whip. I think rightly so. And I think it's probably put Celtic's sort of transfer dealings maybe a month behind where it would have been had Ange been there. Stephen, I'll just come to you on that sort of train of thought as to why Celtic are maybe not scrambling around at the end of the window now trying to get deals done, but I think we can see we're actively looking to get deals done. I just think it's so late in the window due to obviously Ange leaving and Rodgers giving everybody a fair crack at the whip. But the positions that you sort of would like to see filled, and obviously your thoughts on Ryan Fraser, which you were coming in at me there.
I mean, right, let's get it straight here. I know we all got a bit heated and had a wee debate on Friday. That's fair enough. We're all passionate about Celtic and stuff. And I mean, I want to ask Corvo. Corvo's in the chat. He's our resident Newcastle fan. And I want Corvo to do something for me if he can. Describe to me Ryan Fraser's time at Newcastle, and then I'll give my opinion because I want to see what he says genuinely. Obviously, he plays for that club. But in terms of
it's not been a good
sign,
time at Newcastle.
I know, but I just want to hear from Newcastle's point of view.
You could obviously look at his Bournemouth time as well.
Well, Bournemouth, Eddie Howe was it? Did they have a fallout at Bournemouth?
They did because
he's then become the Newcastle manager.
Yeah, so but I think with the Ryan Fraser thing is now look, we obviously seen him as a young player at Aberdeen. He got his move to Bournemouth, and by all accounts, he done really well. And I think he was top of the assist chart and stuff for Bournemouth in numerous seasons. And he got his move to Newcastle on merit, and that's fair enough. But the way I'm looking at it is, there's numerous stories about his attitudes. He refused to sign a contract for Bournemouth. He literally got bombed out of the Newcastle team. He's been in the development squad since 2022 in October. He's not kicked the ball in that sense in terms of competitive football. His injury record isn't great. And according to Corvo, he's on 40k a week at Newcastle. And that, for me, why get a player like that? I think money should be directed elsewhere in the team for that. I get what you're saying, Ross. Don't get me wrong. Premier League experience, fantastic. But 2022 has been out of action. So it doesn't make sense to me. And I think you said it before. I think I shared this link before in the chat. Or one of you said it. And it was like a lazy link. I think this is what it is. I'm not going to believe it just yet because I don't think Rodgers is going to look at Ryan Fraser. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I just don't get it. I
thought it was a formal approach.
I don't know because when Scott Sinclair...
I hope not.
By the way, I really don't know what to make of it. I'm actually sitting in the fence here with Ryan Fraser. But I'm not... When Scotty Sinclair came up, he was out of favour with his English club. And he was fantastic for us. Now, could Ryan Fraser do that for us? Nobody knows. But I really don't know one way or another if he is good.
I think Corvo doesn't like it.
The Northeast correspondent. But
I think as well, if you look at it right, Ryan Fraser, if you take the time out of Newcastle, I can see it. I can see why would be interested in a player like him. He's dynamic, he's quick, but then he's got loads of injury issues. Like he pulls up the hamstrings. I think we've seen that quite evidently a few years ago. And I know that it helps the Scottish quota. People saying it might be ignorant because he's Scottish. He's not a fancy foreign name, and I get that argument. But for me, genuinely, it doesn't excite me. I know what Ross is saying for the need for a left winger, but I want a left winger to come in and take over from Maeda, not a left winger to come in and switch about with Maeda every so often. It's about improving the team. We don't need a 40k player on the books for no reason, unless he's coming in to take a starting position. For me, the other areas of the pitch, I think it's quite evident.
You need to use the squad. It's not just 100%. About
well,
yeah, I get that.
What about Yang?
Well, Yang's a squad there for me.
So
he is.
If I'm a wee chance, so you've got Maeda and Yang, and you've got down the right at the moment, you'll have Abada and Tilo, who were waiting him coming from his injury. So to me, that isn't the problem place at the moment. Definitely left wing, need another centre half, another midfielder, and another striker. I would leave the left wing now. But hey, I'm not the one that's getting paid to mega money like Rodgers has to make this decision. That's only my opinion.
Yeah, my biggest thing in the transfer window would be a goalkeeper, a left back, and by the way, the whole Livakovic deal is dead. He's signing for Fenerbahce. It's getting confirmed. But yeah, I think for me, goalkeeper, left back, and a solid, tall, athletic defensive midfielder. I'll be happy with that to kind of end the window.
Aye. Listen, I want to touch on just what something you'd said there about Yang being a squad player. I think right now, for all the world, he is, because he has to play his way into the team. I don't think he done his chances any harm. I think he showed what he's all about. I think he's probably the most similar. We should say. Fuck's sake! I think on the little I've seen, he looks like the closest player we've got to Jota in the squad. Now, I'm not saying we have to have a like for like in for Jota playing in the team, but I think, and now I've made the case that Abada is Jota's replacement, but I think in the next sort of couple of months, I think we could see Yang really coming into this team and making a big claim for a constant starting spot. I think he really could be that good. That wee glimpse on Sunday, I think he's going to be able to bring that to the team more often than not. What's your thoughts on him, Jed? And then I'll just come to you with the same one after Jed, Stephen.
Again, he's hardly played, but if you look at the Athletic Bilbao game when he came on, I thought him and Noel had a great second half. So against them, I was quite impressed with him, and he's, so far he's been good. But again, we need to see 90 minutes. It's the same as home. We need to see 90 minutes. Like I said, Monty, isn't it? We're all different opinions. Abada's fantastic 1 week, another week he's not. But unfortunately, Scottish football, we don't have players who are bang on it every game. I wish we did, but if they were, they wouldn't be the club because they'd be way down south. So they would. But Yang, I think, with a lot of the new signings so far, we need to see them getting a wee run in the team. This wee glimpse of appearances. I mean, I've said on here a few weeks ago, like Haskabanovic, I think he's more a super sub rather than a starter. So, and I mean, I forgot. I mentioned like the two on the left and the two on the right. I forgot about Haskabanovic. But is he going to get? I don't think he's going to be part of Rodgers' plan anyway. So, but
touching on what Monty said there as well, I think Abada is a really good player, and the numbers, you can't argue with the numbers that he brings in terms of goals. But he does fade. He fades in games. He can't keep it up for a full 90 minutes. Can
I ask a question there for people to talk? If we were playing Rangers this weekend, would they want Abada playing for the start?
I would start Abada because he's got more experience than Yang in these games. But Stephen said he could be a squad player. I think he could really stake a claim to be a starter. It won't be at Ibrox. I think that's too soon. But in terms of, we're talking about a squad and stuff like that, and everybody's saying we want to sign players that are going to improve the first 11. But when you look at it, and Abada comes in and he can maybe play 60 minutes, get a goal or two, and then you can bring Yang on, or you could start Yang and bring Abada on. I think they're really good options on that side, Stephen. But I don't know. That's in relation to.
I don't know either. But in terms of Yang, I mean, Haksabanovic, I think he's burnt his bridges with Rodgers. I think he is genuinely looking to leave the club, and I think Rodgers has said there's players on the periphery of things looking to leave, and their ages have been told. So, for me, Yang is probably our most skillful winger that we have. Abada's really direct. Maeda's really direct for running. There's no really tricks or skills. Yang offers that difference. I do agree. And if you have that for variety of different options, it's great. I mean, Jota was that guy last season on the right-hand side when he faded 60, 70 minutes. Abada come on, vice versa. If Abada started, Jota would start on the left, that type of stuff. But I get what Monty's saying in relation to Abada, but the only thing I can say is Abada looks a different player to me. Looks a really different player from me. Like, he looks bulked up, he looks quicker, he looks more direct, he looks more aggressive, and Rodgers has spoke about that. So hopefully that can make him maintain the consistency levels throughout the season, improve on his numbers, improve on assists, and just be that dynamic winger for the team. But Yang, I didn't mean squad player in terms of a disrespectful sense. I meant just at this moment in time, he's not going to start a game. I do agree. If he gets a run of games, if there's an injury, or if he comes off the bench and makes an impact in them games, like he did at Batodry with that wonderful assist, he'll have to be thought about to start in games to come, because what he looks like, he's very skillful. He's really good in tight spaces, like we've seen in the box. There was like three Aberdeen players around him, and he managed to control it, nip it round him, and play that ball along the grass as well. And he's quick. He's deceivingly quick. When he's without the ball, he looks a bit slow, but when he gets it, he's explosive, and he's straight on the fullback, trying to take the player on and get a cross in or get a shot away. So I'm excited to see what's to come from him. And if you're looking for a coach to develop a 21-year-old from a different country and a new experience, is Rodgers, isn't it? He's the guy that you're going to listen to. And as I said, he convinced Abada to stay. And it's quite ironic that we would have been happy with Abada to leave at the start of this season in terms of the campaign when Rodgers came in. But now he's being talked about as probably being one of the first names on the team sheet. Another thing as well, I think this is a great point. Abada is an inside left, not a winger. What I like about Abada and what I've seen in pre-season, he's actually comfortable playing on the left. So there's a wee bit of, again, you can switch that. You can play Abada on the left one day, maybe bring Yang in to see what he's like on the right-hand side. So again, it's a different variety of options to have, and that's a good thing. The only thing I'm disappointed about is the fact that we haven't signed that kind of quality winger to come in and just come in straight away, and that's my jersey. I'm that player. I'm that kind of luxury player that this team's been crying out for. And I thought, like what Jed said, maybe the left-hand side, they would have looked at that. But again, it doesn't look like that's coming to fruition. That's fine. There's other areas of the pitch that are more concerning for me at the minute. But that's just one gripe for me that didn't sign that one guy to come in and take Jada's place straight away.
See, I think that could be Yang. Listen, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about somebody 25, 26 that's well established.
Mm-hmm.
I realise that Yang isn't that, but it could be. Also, look at Telio. He could be that guy. It's difficult to say yes or no, but I'm looking forward to seeing more Yang and obviously Telio coming into the team. In terms of, like, just before we finish up, just sort of, looking at where the team is now, I think, listen, it's not perfect, right? They're building a bit of momentum slowly. Rodgers is tweaking the style. They're all learning it. And listen, they've all said that in the interviews. Obviously, Joe Hart had alluded to the fact that they know it's not perfect, but they're still learning. Brendan Rodgers said it wasn't perfect. Even Cal McGregor, at a later interview after the game yesterday, had alluded to it as well, Jed. For me, I understand that it's not perfect, but the very fact that the players and the manager are coming out and being honest and saying to fans, we know where we're at right now, and they're not trying to mask anything, that gives me a bit of comfort. And I understand that Brendan Rodgers, like we've said, is an elite manager. And I think, given time, slowly but surely, this team will get better and better. And this team are not performing to that high level that they had been the past 2 seasons under Ange. But they're still winning games of football. And as I said, they're not trying to pull the wool over the fans' eyes. And for me, right now, at this point in Rodgers' second tenure, 2 competitive games in, I'm quite comfortable with that, happy with it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. How do you feel on that?
Well, Ross, I would be more than happy if after every game, whether I'm on or not, but we're talking about, they need to improve there, but we won the game. I'll be more than happy with that. Yes, I've always said this since I started going to the games as a wee boy. Our bread and butter is the Scottish League. Europe's a bonus. And to go into Europe is a massive step up, and we are miles away from that. Again, I said weeks ago, we're a Champions League team in size of the club, but in football ability at the moment, we're not. We're a Europa League team. And it breaks my heart to say that, but I've got to be realistic. So get domestic, as long as we're controlling domestic football at the moment, I'm more than happy. I just, honestly, I feel tonight we have been a wee bit negative, all of us, including all the guys making comments. But that's just us. We want the best for the club. We want to be winning 5-6-0, and every player having a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Ain't going to happen. So let's just try and get the players in, and when we get into Europe, let's hope we can put on a wee show, because last year in Europe we put on some fantastic performances but didn't win the games. Are we going to take not a great performance but winning games? Of course we are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that. We want the best. But let's be honest, if we come back here in December and we've had a good showing or a good point showing in the Champions League, our performances maybe weren't great, we'll all take that. We'll all take that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, listen, Europe, you have to do better in Europe. The league minimum all the time. You have to do better in Europe. I think, listen, Celtic are still building towards that. I think they've signed a lot of players in this window already, and I think we will give a good account of ourselves, because we've done it. We gave a good account of ourselves in the last year Champions League campaign. But by a good account of ourselves, I mean, if we get third, that's an improvement on last season. I don't know. Listen, I don't know who we're going to get. But Stephen, I'll give the final word to you. Let's have a bit of positivity and leave us on a happy note.
I mean, as Jed said, I don't think we've been negative as such. I think we're just making points that everyone can see. I think we perfectly described the Batodra game, because again, it was tight and we came away with the 3 points. And we're sitting here, we've scored about 7 goals in the last 2 games. Kyogo's got on the score sheet, Matt O'Reilly's got on the score sheet, Turnbull, Abada. So the team are scoring, and obviously we know the defensive side needs improved. I think that will be improved. Fingers crossed for that. But I'm happy, mate, 100%. And I think we all knew when Rodgers came in, it's not going to be just boom, it takes off straight away. These players have had 2 years. Matt O'Reilly said this: 2 years of one system ingrained in their brain. And you know yourself, when you're in something for 2 years, whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whether it's something to do with your own life, you come away from that situation, your mind's still stuck kind of in that habit or in them kind of zones. So I'm expecting this from the tactical side of things. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for players to get used to it. And it is refreshing that the players are being honest. It is refreshing that Rodgers is telling us that it's not good enough, but the performance will come. I fully believe that. And it's exciting times to come. We'll talk about European football once the draw's done, and we do our own not deadline day, but transfer league draw special like we did last season. And by the way, deadline day is on the same day, so it could be.
Is it the same day? Is it?
It could be a double pod. Could be a double.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's exciting, and we'll get there. And I think hooker by crook, as Jed said, we're going to take the win over the performance every day of the week, and we'll have to do that if it's European football, if it's the league. As long as we're getting the 3 points, we stay top of the tree, and we fight for the cups and another treble. I'm a happy man, Ross, and I've enjoyed tonight. Plenty of debate as usual. The chat is on fire. Jed's on fire. Yourself is on fire, and yeah, it's just been good talking Celtic again. And positivity is, folks, 2 wins from 2, 7 goals scored. We're on the road.
Yeah, man. Love it. And by the way, just to finish, I think the biggest thing for me is how calm Brendan Rodgers is about it all in his interviews, and how calm the players look in their interviews, and that makes me calm. And there's plenty of time to get the performance right, but we're still, again, winning games of football. And we welcome the chase, and Rangers are chasing already. So, listen, we'll see what happens. I think the next game's Kilmarnock in the League Cup. We might take an opportunity to try out some of these new guys then. We'll see. But listen, we'll speak about that on Friday's show. But that's the end of the show the night.
Ross, can I just say something before you go?
Aye, go for it, Jed.
2 weeks ago, my wife and my daughter, we went to the Celtic tour. Not done it in years. Fantastic. If anybody's not done it or not done it for years, get back in. Honestly, it was first class. I think the guy, the narrator was David Kelly. brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So Annie's get going, great hour. Honestly, I was blown away how good it was. I've not been for about 8 years. So anybody get yourself in. Well worth it.
Well, Jed, that's good to know, by the way, because it's my 40th in September, and I think my brother is getting me it for my 40th. So I was looking forward to it anyway, but looking forward to it more now off the back of your good review, let's say. But have you enjoyed the night?
Been brilliant. Loved it.
Loved it. Thanks again.
It's been a good blether, let's say. But listen, before we finish up, I just want to thank everybody for sticking with us and your interaction in the comments and stuff. We appreciate it. We say it every single time, but we do. And half of are probably more knowledgeable than us guys on this. But listen, if you like what you have watched, like and subscribe, as I say, and let's get the sub numbers up, because Tony absolutely loves it. But no, listen, were you got to say something there, Jed? Sorry.
No.
I thought you were going to say something. No, well, all it leaves then is thanks to you guys. Thanks for everybody watching, and night. God bless. Love yous.
Cheers.